The Manchester Adventures of Brian Hovis by Low-Fat Radio, supported by the Audio Content Fund. My adventure begins in the cool evening air of the Trafford Centre car park, where I'm skinny dipping in a skip filled with rainwater. A couple of lads on dirt bikes buzz around, but other than that, I'm as happy as a pig in skip. On my third elegant backstroke, I stick my head under the water and begin to sing a little song. And he painted matchstick men and matchstick cats and dogs. The heavens seem to split apart, and a blue-white beam of light strikes my lithe, naked frame. And I'm interrupted by the voice of L.S. Lowry, which says, "This is the voice of L.S. Lowry." Wait, how do I know it's you? Got any ID? I mean, there's a lot of scams around these days, so
Listen to what I have to say, Brian. It is of great importance to the benefit of not only Mancunians, but perhaps all of matchstick mankind, even Scousers, maybe even people from Yorkshire. You are the chosen one, Brian, my matchstick lad. You must go out onto the streets of Greater Manchester and search for something that could save us all. The Lost Ark, the 7 Stones of Segadim, free Netflix. I talk of nothing less than the Supernova Champagne Beer.
Champagne beer? My mouth was inadvertently filled with skip water.
No, the Supernova Champagne Beer. That's what I said. One sip of the ever-replenishing bottle of Supernova Champagne Beer will give eternal happiness to those who swallow. Hurry up and find your first clue and start your quest quick, because there's evil round, especially magpies. They're pure evil.
I wee a little in the water.
Where's my first clue? I don't know, do I?
Snaps surly L.S. Lowry.
Get there to Thastas in Eccles, where up on the roof lives an oracle who has an answer for everything and might be called Jeff. Or Jeff.
And he was gone. Right, let's get on with saving humanity immediately. But how to get to Eccles? My keen eyes notice the empty saddle of a brave steed. Well, there's a dirt bike next to the skip. 47.5 minutes later, and I'm well into a rather complex dialogue/bike chase with 2 colleagues of said dirt bike owner. I'm rather running out of sweat, tears, and confidence when I shout, "I'm trying to save the world, boys!" And who leaves their bike parked next to a skip? They circle me near the sewage works. I'm about to shout, "Hey, that's not 2 meters, get distance!" when they suddenly disappear in a puff of chalky paint. You're welcome! And I'm not going to help you anymore, lad. I've got to get to a séance in Chorley. Oh, LS, I laugh. Let's get to Eccles. I, Ryan Hovis, am on a quest to track down the Supernova Champagne Beer. 1 drop of this beer could give eternal happiness to anyone who sips it. But where is it? Nobody knows, and I'm after my first clue. Expertly, I've climbed onto the roof of Asda in Eccles, where someone known as the Oracle of Eccles, or Jeff, is supposed to be. All I see is an old couch and an ashtray.
Hello.
Good God! I nearly jump out of my combats. There, sitting on the couch, is a couch-coloured tiny little creature, like an ickle Ian Brown, wearing a raccoon hat and flip-flops, staring at me with his deep, liquid eyes.
You come to find answers?
Where is the Champagne Supernova Beer, O Oracle?
Where changing wind ruffles beards, where glass and steel point to the sky, the box of delight is.
I think for the best part of a good 10 seconds and draw a total blank. Well, I must admit defeat. I haven't got a clue. Well, thank you. My quest is now over. I'm done. Thanks for the help, anyway.
No, hold on! Go to a windy place with lots of bearded types and buildings of glass and steel. There is a box of delight.
Once again, I think for a while. Nope, sorry, Eccles. Either I'm stupid or you're absolutely mashed. I can't find...
Down the road where it's windy, people wear waxy beards. There are big buildings pointing upwards to the sky, and people delight in things made for the box.
No, damn it. Still not a Scooby-Doo. I bid you a good day, lovely Mr. Eccles.
Oh, God. Media City's down the road. It's always windy there and people wear beards and they're making stuff for the TV, okay?
I give him some friendly advice. Oracle, you are a being that knows all, and I'm really trying to save humanity here. But I'll be honest, your clues are far too cryptic for anybody to figure out. I'm going to make a little foray down to Media City.
That's it!
Just down the road to see if there's any clues there.
It is!
But thanks all the same.
Media City! How'd you not see that? People are so lazy and they're thinking nowadays.
I manfully turn to go and something hits me on the back of the head. Gah! It's a box of Asda kitchen foil.
Complimentary, you...
I think you should try chilling out, my friend. I leave having learnt barely nothing. But at least I have my next destination. You haven't got any dishwasher tablets, have you? No! In my quest for the Supernova Champagne beer, I have so far spoken to a dead painter in the sky, a small creature on the roof of Asda, and nicked a dirt bike. Having parked up my dirt bike trusty steed near Media City, peaceful, desolate, bit poncy, I go to the parking machine. But soon this quiet desolation turns into a right knob of a situation. The machine says. A talking parking machine? This is odd. Ooh, so odd. It must be part of my quest. Hey, do you have my next clue?
So odd. Do you have maybe?
If I pay you, will you tell me my clue? I'm trying! Who carries change anymore? Then I don't know what to do, Mr. Machine. Its silvery slot mouth suddenly shoots forward and snaps itself shut around my little pinky. Now let me get this straight. If I don't find some way of giving you £1.20...
You'll be stuck with me for the rest of your life, receiving fine after lecture, after fine letter.
My mind works overtime. What would my gurus, my guides, my inspirations, Noel and Liam, do? What did they say? Let there be love.
What you gonna do, Brian?
I reach out my other hand, now with a rubber glove on it, and I stroke the machine. It's not your fault.
What?
It's not your fault. You don't really want to be so mean.
Well,
It can be such a lonely place. Cruel responsibility.
I just want to please my masters and make sure everyone pays their £1 to £48.
It's not your fault. It begins to sob. There. My fingers massage its little metal metropolitan head.
Oh, that's nice. Oh.
It's not your fault. I stroke its boxy face, its all-seeing glassy eye, and wipe the tears from its return coins button. And relax. The coin slot jaws open, and I pull out my little pinky and promptly slump to the pavement. Crikey Moses! I lost my other pinky stroking a billy goat some years previously in the forests of Wigan.
Thank you, Brian. We really should be kinder to each other now, more than ever.
Absolutely.
I'll try and ruin fewer marriages in future.
Yes. Great.
Want the clue?
Yeah?
Beneath the blue, under a bridge near you, lies a box in the earth. It holds your clue.
What does that mean?
Go away now.
Okay, he's being a prat again. So, with my pinky throbbing like an absolute... I skip off a bit sharpish-like. I'm Brian, and I'm searching for the Supernova Champagne beer, which is a magic drink that will give us all eternal happiness. My adventures across Manchester have brought me here, to a deserted Media City. I wander the windy walkways where Jeremy Kyle fans once roamed in dysfunctional family units, shout-swearing profusely. One long and humid day later of searching high and low, with the emphasis mostly on low, I am weeping in frustration, crouched next to a discarded life-size cutout of Tom Jones. Slumped on the concrete and about to give up, I take a deep breath and look out across the shimmering water and that beautiful bridge. Wait! The clue. Beneath the blue, under the bridge, near you, lies a box in the earth that holds your next clue. Well, there's the bridge, there's the water. Let's go swimming. I am a Corinthian as I jog to the canal's edge. Without pause, I launch into the perfect dive. In one graceful motion, my torso bends 90 degrees from horizontal. My legs whip upright, and I plunge with hardly any noise. Straight through the small rowing boat floating there. Gosh, splinters in my mouth. Get out, you. I expertly use the sack of potatoes technique and sink pretty fast to the bottom. With my right eye now out of commission but already starting its healing process, which is good news, my left eye scans the murky depths. Lots of flotsam and jetsam, now all sunksome. Starting to crave a bit of the old O2, but there. Yes, there! Between the fridge and the horse, an intriguing protrusion. What is that little thing? Half blind and busting for air, I flail and doggy paddle for the sake of mankind towards the object. Closer, closer. It's a small jewelry box. With an almighty primal gasp of air, I break surface, the box safely stowed in my undercrackers. Shivering, I look at the box. In small writing it says, "New oyster." Inside, an oyster with a pleasant smile winks up at me.
Hi, I'm Hooky Pete.
Hi, Pete.
The city is grand, hooray! Yet united we stand today.
Whoa, Hooky Pete. Can you tell me any more?
No, but please, I beg of you, don't eat me.
I swallowed down the oyster for some much-needed sustenance. Now, this clue. My eyes look up, and I see a big structure on the horizon. I must go to Old Trafford! Old Trafford looms empty and profoundly quiet as night deepens around its sacred bulk. Well, sacred to some, that is. With a sort of brave trepidation, I step within. Only the echoes of sporting dreams play within its walls in these strained times. I transfer my manly sensitivity from out of my mind and into my body as I walk with sensitive manliness down the steps inside this majestic stadium. A reminder. There's something called the ever-replenishing Supernova champagne beer hidden somewhere in Manchester, and if I find it, we can all have a glug and receive the gift of eternal happiness! I take the steps 3 at a time. Alas, there are only 2 of them. To limit any damage to the brain, I expertly use my face to break the fall. What's in my mouth? Mud! Nipples deep in mud! On the Holy Trafford turf? What the hell is going on? I cast my gaze 180 degrees to my left and 120 degrees to my right, as cold tentacles of horror grip at my soul with a slimy, tingling sensation. Old Trafford has been transformed into one gigantic mud bath. If you think that's so horrendous, where each corner flag should stand proudly waving in the gentle Mancunian breezes, is a 10-foot wooden stake, and strapped to each stake a few inches above the brown muddy mess are everyone's favourite 4. It's Bex, Giggs, Neville and Neville. I deduce from their scream moans and general pleading for mercy that they didn't invite themselves to this party. Hiya, Bex! I shout.
Are you the promise geezer they call Brian?
Asks Bex. Here I am, he am, I am he, I say confidently. Cheers, bud. Can you get us out of here, please? Oh, God, they're so nice, the Nevs. But beware the big monster, my new and very good friend. What did you say? I shout, as I determinedly and doggedly flounder towards their captives through the thick sludge. I said, beware.
Too late, Phil.
You're right, Gary. There, in what should have been the middle of the pitch, a growing bulge of horrible brown, dripping excrescence grew taller and molded itself into the shape of a gigantic mushroom, man. God, this is weird! The head, a gigantic button mushroom. Hands, long shiitake mushroom finger stats, about 100 to 115 feet tall, and the mushroom man squelches open an ugly maw of a mouth. And then it spoke.
You're getting the serious final red card, son.
I must think hard and fast about my reply. Give me till Monday. Last week on my Manchester Adventures of Brian Hovis, I started my search for the Supernova Champagne beer, an ever-refilling bottle that endows happiness to all who sup it. I'm roaming our quiet streets, risking life and limb to find that beer for us all to somehow take a sip. I now find myself in a swampy, disused Old Trafford where Beckham, Neville, Giggs and Neville are imprisoned on corner flag stakes by a huge mushroom man monster who has just said that I'm doomed.
You're getting the serious final red card, son.
Quick thinking is called for. This thing has grown out of the ground, a ground with great history, and everyone tied to corner flags. Beckham, Neville, Giggs and Neville are all from the class of '92. What could this mean? While Old Trafford has sat locked down in misery, strange things have unearthed from the past. I look to the four corners for help. Beckham speaks first.
Sorry, me old china plate. If I knew what to do, I'd have done it good and proper.
Nice, Neville G.
All we know is that he's very upset and we can't move him.
Nice, Neville P.
We tried kicking him, tackling him, shoulder barging, and that's what got us tied up to these stakes.
Ryan stays quiet, never much of a talker.
Move me, or get the serious final red card, Brian.
Hang on! Move. Move. Move it on up? Primal Scream? That's a 90s song. I like to move it, move it. Well, that's 90s. Class of 92, the Happy Mondays broke up in 92. Gosh, that must have been tough. Maybe a little song of the Mondays will move him. Call the cops! Hey, rain, make it come away from the man you know is gonna take away your promised land. My infectious gyrations and singing begins to get everyone in the stadium moving.
Yeah, he talks so heavy, he's twisted my melon, man. Gonna stamp out your fire, gotta change your design.
Bex's legs begin to dance, and the Nevilles are giving it all they've got.
You're the man, gonna stamp out your fire.
Even Giggs is mouthing some of the words and twitching a little finger to the pulsating beat of my voice. The whole stadium is rocking. The Mushroom Man is weeping. Yes, weeping a happy weep. He begins to de-squelch and deform back into the ground of Old Trafford where happy memories can rest neath the surface, waiting for the next chance to return.
Oh, I'm proper moved by that, me old U-bend. Well, why don't you up off out of here, up them apples and pears, and get yourself to Longsight Library? There's a great book there. Just one copy, called Beck's My Side. I reckon it's there you'll find your next clue.
Said David Beckham. Cheers, class of 92. What can I say? I'd say it's been weird. Giggs says absolutely nothing. All I have to do is enter Longsight Library, find a particular book, and hopefully the clue to the location of the secret Supernova Champagne beer. An ever-refilling beer that gives eternal happiness. I take one step towards the front door and fall down a hole. Go! In the dark I stand and feel some curtains on my face. I throw those curtains wide and... ooh, a very shiny place. Above me there's a mirror ball, and at my feet, scattered black and white squares like a funny-looking chessboard come 70s dance floor. I'm standing on a square at the edge, and it's lit up. It's only now I notice a huge, donkey-sized magpie staring down at me from the glitter ball.
Find way across the dance floor. You'll reach library.
You know what, Magpie? About a week ago, I was told that the enemy I faced on this quest was an evil magpie.
Because there's evil round, especially magpies. They're pure evil.
I'm not scared of you, and I'm not playing your games. I march across the dance floor and immediately pass out, waking up back at the first square.
Well done, Bozo. Lose one life, two left.
I'm not afraid of you and your fake news, and I spring across the dance floor. I'm back at square one.
Bozo again. Lost one other life. One left.
Ugh. Along the wall, haunting statues of people who look a little like me. Kind of Indiana Jones types. Are those people who...
all previous players never made it out.
I reassess my situation. It seems I bravely lost 2 valuable lives playing a game I have yet to understand. Hey, Magpie. What are the rules here?
I will riddle read. You will get it wrong and turn to stone.
And if I succeed?
You may go to the library.
Sounds like a fun afternoon.
Here is riddle. In this place you are, how many steps you take. If number of steps is number of mates I have in my band, if I own place.
5.
Rah! Are you sure?
I'm right, aren't I? He's so annoyed. I can see that I'm right. And I take 5 steps across the dance floor. The mirror ball begins to spin, and my square begins to rise back up toward the long sight daylight.
Because you knew it was elbow, right? My clue too easy.
What? No, I just thought it was the Beatles because they were a band.
What?
Yes, I see now. A hole in the neighborhood, I fell down. Throw those curtains wide, mirror ball, scattered black and whites. All elbow lyrics. Yes, that works. Well done, Magpie. Good game. I trot to the library, go to the David Beckham section, a huge section of books, and track down the one copy of David Beckham. My side. In it is a receipt. A receipt for IKEA Ashton. I fear this will be my biggest challenge yet. Let's go to IKEA! My name is Brian Hovis. Welcome to IKEA. The last clue on my search for the secret supernova champagne beer, an ever-refilling beer that gives eternal happiness to all who drink it, has brought me here. Now, let me ask you a philosophical question that only the listeners of XS Manchester have the brain power to deal with. Is IKEA without meatballs still IKEA? No idea of the whereabouts of my next clue, so let's put it to the test. Can I still enjoy my time like an ordinary shopper would of old? Finding out is going to need a montage sequence. Opening drawers. Head inside drawers, smelling interior. Turning on lamps. Turning off lamps. On. Off. On. Off. Bulb breaking. Smelling leather sofas. Gosh. Sliding posterior on leather sofas. Using beds as trampolines. Having a pillow fight. Which is a lonely thing, I can tell you. Especially when you're having it with yourself. Unless you're part of an experiment like this one, then it's okay. Hot dog mustard gargling. Brian, what are you doing? Mid-gargle, the misty, ghostly face of L.S. Lowry, the legendary and deceased painter of matchstick men, who started me off on this quest over a week ago, appears from the air-conditioning vents. Stop messing about! I'll have you know I'm not messing about. I'm doing an experiment. I'm learning that lampshades make beautiful hats. The toilets in the bathroom section are absolutely not real working toilets. And as for the absence of the smell of meatballs... How is this helping us track down the beer, Brian? Well, it's not hindering, is it, L.S.? That's a poor excuse to rob a few hours of merriment for yourself, when you should be saving the matchstickness and happiness of Manchester by getting on with... I'll be honest, L.S. None of this makes any sense. How can a drink make thousands of people happy? Magical or not? And anyway, why don't you find it instead of sending me on a totally random and ludicrous and quite frankly knackering goose chase? Do it yourself, L.S. There, lad. Now, come on. You seem to have dropped your musket, metaphorically speaking. I don't know where the drink is, but my intuition tells me perhaps you need to live to a little excess and check out the source of sound to see the mountain or wall you must climb. The air conditioning turns itself on, sucking L.S. Lowry off into the distance. Don't give up hope! The source of the sound. Let's go to XS Manchester. My bladder mocks me as I stand on the pavement outside the high-security doors of XS Manchester. The last clue in my search for the supernova champagne beer that gives eternal happiness to all who share it pointed me towards the source of the sound. So surely this must be the place. Now the thing is, I've not had a wee since IKEA, and Spinningfields has literally no field in it. Just nice glass buildings and no sign of a friendly urinal.
I'm just beginning to wonder if I should get out my keepy cup when What's this on the floor? Clint Boone's massive lanyard and keycard! Ha! He must have dropped it in a stupor of overwork and underpay. I reach for it and swipe the little keypad on the wall. I jump in the lift and up we go. Higher and high. Bladder heavier and heavier. Hurry up! Roof level. Must not we in. I leap out like a gazelle at closing time from the Red Lion, and I land in front of a singular yellow brick wall where I immediately release the fire hose of relief. But what's this? In the corner of the wall, a little blue plaque which reads, Wonderwall. I turn my stream off immediately. Is this, holding up the XS Manchester transmitter, Liam and Noel's actual Wonderwall? I begin to consider. I don't know what this has to do with the Champagne Supernova beer, but here is surely where there will be some kind of climactic finish to my quest. When, all of a sudden, swooping from above is my nemesis, the evil magpie, once more keen on my downfall. I begin to run across the roof, shouting, "Ha ha ha! You'll never catch me!" He catches me in his talons and wings me up. God, this is high. Oh, helpless, but wonderfully brave. And despite the tears in my eyes, I can see that I'm in a situation comparable to a creek, lack of paddle, and some Nevertheless, I congratulate myself on investing in that packet of Clayton's Adventurers all-purpose Hardy-Man diapers with double membrane. They've already paid for themselves 3 times over. The winged terror suddenly swoops, opens its talons and releases me to plummet to the ground in uncertain ruin. I scream like a fruit bat as I plunge the 18 or 20 inches to the once perfect soil of the Aniated. But I am not alone. Surrounding me slowly are the new squatters of this blue monument, a gaggle of the most ferocious, red-eyed geese you've ever seen.
"You've landed on the wrong runway, sunshine,"
says the leader. Cliffhanger! You left me amidst the geese of the Aniated, a particularly nasty breed of goose who has taken over the pitch once belonging to Man City. But these aren't just any geese. These are bother geese, with evil red eyes and huge winged biceps. They strut steadily and aggressively toward me. Less of a gaggle, more of a gang.
"Oi, where's our bread?"
says the ringleader as the other bother geese crowd behind him, hunger in their eyes, fangs in their beaks.
"We love bread, see? And I'm a bit worried that you've landed yourself in our Oval Omi without having brought any bread. So unless you want us to go down league rapidly, I suggest you overhead kick us some dough of the wholemeal kind."
"I've got your bread," I say in their language. "And it's lovely bread, freshly baked. And it's just over there in a basket of that bicycle meal butter."
"Get it,"
says the main goose, standing tall as an emu, growing with excitement.
"Oh, yes,"
I say perhaps foolishly.
"I'll just goose over there and get it for you."
"Or maybe you book a rest and remain here, and I'll check the bike out."
He struts to pass me towards said bike, and I see my chance. I throw a swift right hook towards him, only missing him by inches and spinning me round. When the spinning stops, he replies with a punch to the neck. Gah! That's smart, I say. Perhaps we should talk this through. Ouch! Another right hook. I decide to fight back. I swing my best left, once again only missing him by inches, but the spin I enter sends me sliding into the mud, inadvertently slide tackling the little goosey legs from under him. If there's one thing a goose hates, it's being on its backside. And the embarrassment lasts just long enough for me to find my feet and do what I learned best in my 2 years stuck on the first episode of Couch to 5K. I leg it.
"Get him, lads."
The whole herd gives chase, nipping at my heels as I leap onto the bike and slam my foot onto the pedal, slipping straight into 5th gear. Realizing my mistake, I shunt it down into 1st as a goose lands on the stabilizers and takes a chunk out of my left earlobe. Ow! I hit a ramp just off the pitch and realize I'm on Aguero's bike.
and this is Aguero's exit ramp. Up we go!
Flying through the air, passing over Mottram. No idea where I'm going, no idea why. I catch a quick snooze while I fly. I dream of Morrissey in a caravan, of playing drums on stage, of fighting a monster in a cave. What strange images. Perhaps all that is to come next week on my quest for the Supernova champagne beer. I have a puncture on my bicycle on a hillside desolate near Glossop, and there before me is a beautiful static caravan with the name Morrissey written on the septic tank. I must admit I stole the bike. But when you're on a quest to bring happiness to the whole of Greater Manchester by following a bunch of hard clues to find the ever-replenishing rare and secret champagne supernova beer, you can't be padding on your pumps. Anyway, the bike was rubbish. From within Morrissey's caravan I can hear a moan like a sad, recently divorced whale. I should A, check he's okay, and B, see if he can help me on my quest. There's no answer. I decide 6 knocks is enough, and jimmy the door open as a responsible citizen should. Oh, good God! There's no Morrissey here but his tenant, Sean Ryder, who's got himself stuck in a deck chair watching I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here reruns. With his one free finger he bids me to come to him. I think. Hello, Sean. In a bit of a pickle, are we?
I can't talk loud. Not got energy. Got advice, though.
Is the advice to get you out of the deck chair, Sean?
Go over to that mirror in the kitchen.
I do.
What do you see?
I see myself.
Go over to that mirror in the bathroom.
I do.
What do you see?
I see myself.
Then how can you be in 2 places at once?
Now, I've often thought of Sean as the Yoda of Manchester, and this just compounds my theory. My brain absorbing the immense wisdom of it all, I begin to feel my melon twisting in its own juices, as I too tried to twist Sean's melon up and out from under the deck chair main brake.
I'm gonna try and roll over that way a little bit.
Oh, stay still.
Oh, God.
It's coming up. 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 It's there.
And he's out. No sooner than he is out and he's scarpered quick-ish on to his next adventure. Off to find Bez, no doubt. I functionally and quietly seek anything that could be my next clue. I take a look around Morrissey's gaff, and there beside the single bed, some silver catches my eye. It's a spoon next to a teacup on a piece of kitchen roll with the words,
"You're gonna need this, Morrissey."
P.S. You may find Sean stuck in my lounge deck chair. Please, under no circumstances, let him out.
I take the teaspoon stroke artifact. Cheers, Motter. I'll whack that on eBay. Hang on. Small writing on the spoon. It either says, "Mare on the waves to Crantham Tree," or "Made in the caves of Oldham Street." Motter! You beautiful man! Ha ha! Let's go to Oldham Street. I find myself in the caves of Oldham Street. Who'd have thunk that beneath the drain grid we all know as the one that many a Clint Boone had famously puked down every Saturday night in the 90s, hides a vast network of secret caverns. Last chapter of my tale, we learn from a note in Morrissey's static caravan that the Supernova champagne beer can only be found by entering these caves. But where is my next clue? Gah! All of a sudden, a huge hog of a creature stands before me. It's half human, half werewolf. Like a weird Ann Widdecombe Elton John mashup. It speaks to me.
Your next clue is written somewhere within this scroll.
That's a bog roll, I say.
Yes, I know it's a bog roll, but it's what's written on it that counts, and it's my last bog roll,
spits Ann Elton. You didn't stock up, I say.
I did, but I got through a lot. I've always been more than regular. Now bog off!
But I need the next clue.
You can fight me to the death for it. Fight me to the death and you can have it.
Well, it seems I must fight Ann Elton, for some reason to the death. I need a weapon. In my satchel I only have Hooky Pete's oyster box, my keepy cup, and Morrissey's teaspoon which I half-inch from his static caravan in Glossop. I must use the teaspoon. On guard! I shout. And Elton whips out a spatula. God knows where from. This is going to be gruesome, I thought out loud in my speaking voice. I charged the beast with my spoon with an incredible agility I picked up at my elite Morris dancing lessons I attended aged 14 to 36 and a half. Haha! I knew they'd come in handy at some point. The spatula slaps me in the face with a crack like a bullfrog landing a belly flop. Gah! That's smart. I make my second approach from beneath and scream a ninja scream I picked up whilst caretaking at the West Horton Women's Institute Knitting Circle circa 1983. And as if in slow motion, I jab the spoon up into the septum of the beast, twisting the handle round and up into the right hairy nostril. I pull it viciously downwards, a deadly move known to defeat any monstrosity. My spoon, now covered in a rancid globular oil, transforms itself into a weapon with the power-up. I flick the oil back into its face, and for several moments my eyes are transfixed as poor old Ann Elton over there starts to fart and sneeze like a fat honey badger during hay fever season, thus revealing my golden opportunity. I reach down and swipe the bog-roll from her grippy claws. Despite being covered now in a snot and a soupçon of regret, I have the bog-roll. My next clue lies within. Head down to town and find unsuspecting help en route to the bowl of Castle Field. Right. Let's go downtown. Turning the corner into King Street, I'm quickly running through the plot of the Stone Roses opera I'm writing in my head when suddenly a horrific scene stops me in my tracks. It's that notorious gang of hoodlums known as the Affleck's Wombles. I had hoped to avoid a run-in with the infamous herd of latex and leather aficionados, but there they were, emerging from the vacant Jamie's Italian. They're all tooled up with an assortment of weaponry ranging from a branded cheese grater to pepper grinders a yard long. They begin to circle.
What's the we got here then, Governario?
Scoffs the leader in Italian Cockney gibberish. Tread carefully, Brian, my brain says to me. I beg your pardon, you fine good people. The circle is closing.
You hear-o, damn good what I say, Petrudio,
blurbs the ringleader. That circle is dangerously close to closed. One mean punk womble threatens me with his pasta maker, and I'm away. It might seem a bit whimsical, but when I suddenly get it into my head to go for a pleasant morning jog, I really put my back into it. I soon find myself at my destination, the Castlefield Bowl. Gah! The mob have kept up with me. They move closer, chanting.
Kill, dice, pucker 'em up, and you know what I mean. Kill,
Stay back! I plead casually as they close in on me, forcing me backwards up onto the stage where a full discarded lineup of a band sits plugged in and ready to go. Boys, you've no idea what's at stake. I need to find the Supernova champagne beer. Immediately upon my words, the Womble mob drop to their knees, bowing their heads.
You know what I mean, Champagne Supernova, you know what I mean.
Yes, I do know what you mean. I most certainly do not know what they mean, but my instinct for survival kicks in and I try something. An unplugged gig. Never played the drums before, but I feel of all of the instruments on that stage, it must be the least impossible. I mean, come on. Drummers don't need brains, they're just basically noisy toddlers. I mount the drum kit like a pro and play an expert rendition of Champagne Supernova. How many special people change? How many lives of living strange? One hell of a groovy jamming afternoon later, and I'm wholeheartedly taken into the bosom of that gang, who, it turns out, believe correctly the Gallagher brothers to be higher beings who came with their fifth-dimensional music to Earth when their home world was consumed by a nearby supernova. Find me caught beneath the landslide. After dinner, back at the restaurant, they all collapse, exhausted, drunk on camaraderie and panna cotta. My instinct takes me on a wander to the basement, when my keen eye spots a glowing door floating inches above the ground, with a neon sign above it, which reads, "What's the story, brackets, beer story, close brackets." This could be it. I, Brian Hovis, prepare to enter the glowing portal in the cellar of the Affleck's Womble's hideout, where maybe, just maybe, I will find the Supernova Champagne Beer, a drink that somehow gives us all eternal happiness. The neon sign above the door reads, "What's the story, beer story?" With a sense of elation and a little trapped wind from the panna cotta in the previous episode, I bravely enter the luminous doorway, stepping through into a dimly lit cavern, immediately taking advantage of this beautiful, echoing space. I launch into an aria.
I used to think that the day would never come. I see the light in the shade of the morning.
When I notice floating before my face a tiny robot, and he looks exactly like Bonehead.
All right.
Hello, Robot Bonehead, you little cutie.
Shut up, human, and focus. You have arrived in Dimension O, also known as Dimension O.
Fair enough.
Only a true Oasis disciple shall be allowed access to the levels below to receive the Supernova Champagne bottle. Therefore, 3 tests are given.
Quick question. When you say, a true disciple...
First test. What is the title of the punky third B-side from Some Might Say?
Whoa, that's a bit of a head shrinker.
Head shrinker is correct, human.
Bonehead presses a button on his chest.
Second test. How did you know the answer to the first test?
The brain functions sometimes. You've just got to roll with it.
Roll with it. Correct.
Bonehead presses a button on his hip.
Extremely hard final test.
I reverse vomit a little bit of sick back down my throat when my ankles are gripped by restraints, and little Boney scoots around behind me. What's going on here?
You're an idiot.
His little robot arms start to slap the back of my head. It's not painful. He's too small. It's just annoying. I'm about to whip round and bite his little metal head off when my neck seizes up. Must be after the drumming I'd done earlier at the Castlefield Bowl. Oh my God, I cannot turn my neck.
Idiot. Idiot.
I've been through hell to get here.
Idiot. Idiot.
I'm so angry.
Idiot.
I've never been so angry.
Correct.
Robot Bonehead presses a button on his buttocks. And just to confirm, I passed the third test because...
No matter how you felt, you did not look back in anger. Take your prize!
The very air seems to scintillate with power as I step forward to accept the beery artifact, but suddenly...
Warning! Warning! Wormhole incursion! Magpie approaching!
This is the final chapter of my quest to find the Supernova Champagne Beer which will somehow give eternal happiness to all of Manchester. I've entered an alternate universe, where a robot Bonehead just gave me a bottle of the sacred drink, but said Bonehead's just gone berserk.
Warning! Wormhole incursion! Magpie approaching!
The walls meld into a whirling electric pink tunnel, out of which flaps my nemesis, the evil magpie.
Nice shiny bottle, Brian.
It swoops and wraps itself around me, attempting to wrench the bottle from my hands. I grip the bottle with a vice-like grip.
It's not the squawk that's valuable, Brian. It's the cork.
The golden cork is firmly in the magpie's talons as the foul bird flies back into the wormhole. I know exactly what I must do. I must ride this bottle home. Get that cork and place it atop something equally magical. I place my thumb over it and shake the contents with vigor. Pressure up, I mount it and release my thumb! Whoa! Ha-ha! My master plan worked. Someone get me a Bloody Mary and a packet of scampi fries. I've upgraded to first class. Know what the end of a wormhole sounds like? I do. I begin to fall the last 100 meters toward the rooftop, where the Wonder Wall holds up the XS Manchester transmitter. But this is too fast for a fool without a chute. What would your final thoughts be? Mine are, oh dear, that rooftop is approaching rather fast. But wait! Ooh! I belly flop into a feathery black and white bundle.
Get off my back!
I swing my bottle at the magpie's legs and whip them out from under him. He drops the golden cork. I pick up the golden cork. I then drop the golden cork. I pick up the golden cork again, this time with 2 hands. I leg it across the rooftop, slap my soles up on the wonder wall and stretch every muscle in my arm to reach and reverently place the golden cork atop the transmitter. "Well done, lad!" booms L.S. Lowry from the clouds, the fella who set me off on this in the first place. "From here on, whenever a song is strummed at the fingers of Clint Boone and his chums, all who listen will feel joy and pride and walk a little taller with an extra dose of Mancunian happiness." Ugh! I find myself back in the waters of my Trafford Centre swimming skip. A regular-sized magpie lands on the edge. I nod hello, and remember I have something in my bag for him. "Here you go. Tinfoil. Given me by Jeff in Eccles." He takes it. "Oh, magpie," I laugh. "Let's be best friends." The magpie flies off. Suit yourself? What next? Happiness in my daily exercise of 1 hour's back crawl in the silent, scuzzy skip water. The Manchester Adventures of Brian Hovis. I Loaf at Radio. Supported by the Audio Content Fund.